The stars over the planet Vereen looked like cold diamonds. The air was heavy with mist, and strange blue lights floated between the trees. A small research dome stood alone in the middle of the glowing forest. Inside it, a human worked quietly. His name was Eli Ward. Eli was an engineer from Earth. He had been sent by the Galactic Union to repair a broken life support system in this alien world. The report said that the dome belonged to Princess Lyra, daughter of the Vereen Queen, and she was very sick. The machine keeping her alive was old and strange, a mix of alien biology and lost technology. Eli didn't know much about the Vereens. He only knew they were tall, graceful beings with shining blue skin and eyes that changed color with emotion. They didn't like humans. They said humans were too curious. But when Lyra fell ill, no alien engineer could fix her machine. The Queen had no choice, and she asked for a human's help. Eli accepted, but from the moment he arrived, he could feel something was wrong. The guards avoided looking at him. The scientists whispered. The walls of the dome seemed to breathe, almost alive. Every sound echoed like a heartbeat. One night, after hours of studying the broken life system, Eli sat alone, drinking a cup of cold coffee. The lights in the lab flickered and the intercom crackled softly. He thought it was static, but then he heard a voice. It was soft, trembling, a whisper from the other side of the glass wall that separated him from the quarantine chamber. "Will you stay if I undress, human?" Eli froze. He turned toward the speaker. The sound came from the princess's chamber. He looked through the glass window, but he saw only a faint blue glow and the shape of a figure lying in the mist. "Who is this?" Eli asked. "Princess Lyra." The voice came again, shaking like it was afraid. "They said you would leave if I show what I really am. Will you stay?" Eli didn't understand. "Show what you really are?" he repeated. "What do you mean, undress?" For a moment there was silence. Only the faint sound of the dome's air filters filled the room. Then the voice whispered, "My skin is dying, human. It will fall apart soon. If I remove it, the guards will call me impure. But if I don't, I will die. Will you stay if I undress?" Eli felt a chill. He had heard rumors that the Vereens had two skins. The outer one was beautiful, glowing, and perfect. But the inner one, no human had ever seen it. To remove it was a crime, a shameful act against their own gods. He didn't know what to say. His hand shook. I was sent to fix your machine," he said slowly. Not to break your laws," her voice softened. "Then you will not stay." The intercom went silent. The lights dimmed again, leaving Eli in the dark with his own heartbeat. He couldn't sleep that night. The words echoed in his mind. "Will you stay if I undress?" He checked the system logs. The oxygen levels in her chamber were dropping fast. The dome's biofilter was unstable, and the readings made no sense. It was like the system was rejecting her body. Every minute her life was slipping away. Eli paced the lab floor, thinking, should he call the alien guards? No, they would shut the system down and let her die. They believed it was nature's will. Should he leave? No. Something inside him refused to walk away. The next day, he walked to the glass wall again. The fog inside was thicker. Through it, he saw her, Lyra. She was lying on a crystal bed, her blue skin faintly glowing. Thin silver tubes connected her to the life machine. Her eyes opened slowly when she felt his presence. "You came back," she said weakly. Eli nodded. "I didn't finish my work yesterday." Lyra's lips curved into a sad smile. "No human has ever stayed this long. They always fear what they cannot understand." Eli sat near the glass, watching the strange patterns of light moving across her body. "Maybe I'm not smart enough to fear everything," he said softly. That made her laugh. A soft musical sound, but filled with pain. "You don't understand, human. Soon my skin will peel away. When that happens, the system will reject me completely. I will die, unless you help me rebuild it." Eli stared at the machine behind her. He could feel the slow hum of its alien heart. "Then I'll fix it," he said. Her eyes glowed a gentle purple, the color of surprise. "Even if it breaks your laws?" He hesitated, looking at her. Fragile, dying, but still trying to smile. "I don't care about laws," he said finally. "I care about life." For a moment, silence filled the dome. Then she whispered one last time, "Then you may be the one the stars spoke of, human." And as Eli turned back to his tools, The mist around her chamber began to glow brighter, as if the planet itself was listening. The story of their fates had just begun. The next morning came slowly on planet Vereen. The violet light of its twin suns shone through the mist, turning the research dome into a glowing bubble. Eli Ward hadn't slept. His mind was full of questions, and one voice that refused to fade. "Will you stay if I undress, human?" Those words still echoed in his head. What did she mean? What was she hiding, and why did she sound so afraid? Eli stood in front of the glass wall that separated him from Princess Lyra. The mist inside the chamber had thinned, revealing her faint outline. She was sitting up now, her fragile hands resting on her knees. Her skin shimmered faintly like water under moonlight. Her voice came through the speaker softer than before. "You didn't run." Eli smiled weakly. "Did you want me to?" "Most would," she whispered. "Your kind fears what you can't fix." "I fix things," Eli said simply. "That's my job." For the first time he saw her smile, and small but real. Then silence filled the room again, heavy and deep. Finally Lyra spoke, her voice trembling. "You must wonder what I meant last night." Eli nodded slowly. "Yes, I don't understand what you meant by undress." She looked down, her fingers tightening around the edge of the bed. "Among my people, our outer skin isn't just flesh," she said. "It is protection, a living armor that keeps us strong. It keeps our temperature, our color, our beauty. It hides what is beneath." Eli frowned, trying to follow. "And what's beneath?" Her eyes glowed pale blue and the color of fear. "The truth," she said. He waited. Lyra took a long, shaking breath. "Our true skin is weak. It cannot survive in open air. Only our kind can see it. It's against our law to remove the outer shell in front of outsiders. It's the first rule of our birth. Never show what lies beneath." She lifted her hand slowly. The skin on her wrist was cracking, small silver lines glowing under the surface. "But mine is dying," she whispered. "My shell is breaking apart. Every hour it fails and the air burns me." Eli stepped closer to the glass, alarmed. "Can't your people help you?" Her voice broke. "They tried. But when the healers saw my shell rot, they called it impurity. They said the queen's daughter was cursed. They locked me in this dome to die quietly when without shame." Eli stared at her, his chest tightening. "That's why they called for a human engineer," he said slowly. "Because no one else would come." Lyra nodded. A tear, shining like liquid glass, rolled down her cheek. "They said your kind does not fear corruption. They said you work even when the world breaks around you." Eli looked at the machine beside her bed, a strange mix of alien tubes and organic cables. The monitor flickered, showing her heart rate dropping slightly. He walked to the console and touched the screen. "This system isn't just tech," he murmured. "It's alive." "Yes," Lyra said softly. "It breathes with me, but now it fights me. It senses my skin dying and tries to replace it. But the code is wrong. It only knows how to keep my outer form alive. It doesn't understand what's underneath," Eli thought quickly. "If I reprogram the life system, make it respond to your true form instead, maybe it'll stop fighting you." Lyra looked at him sharply. "That would mean seeing me. Without the shell." He hesitated, realizing what she meant. "Your people would never allow that." Her lips trembled. "No one must know. If the council finds out, they'll destroy the dome. And me with it." The silence that followed was heavy. Only the faint hum of the machine filled the air. Eli looked into her eyes, glowing faint blue, soft and scared. "Then no one will know," he said finally. "Just me." Lyra stared at him for a long moment. Something in her gaze changed, a quiet trust fragile as glass. "You would risk everything?" Eli shrugged. "I fix broken things, remember? You're one of them now." She smiled faintly. "Humans are strange," he grinned. "I get that a lot." Then her body shook with a sudden cough and cracks of light spread across her arms. The machine beeped wildly. Eli rushed to the console. "Your oxygen levels are dropping," he said. "The shell. It's shedding," she gasped. "It won't last another cycle." Eli grabbed his tools, his mind racing. "Then I need to finish the code before that happens." She looked at him, her voice trembling. "When it falls away, human, don't look away." Eli stopped typing, meeting her gaze through the glass. "I won't." Outside, the violet light of the twin suns began to fade. Inside, the hum of the alien machine grew louder, like a heartbeat counting down to something unknown. The secret of the alien princess was no longer a mystery. It was a warning, and Eli Ward had just promised to face it. The dome was quiet but not peaceful. Every few seconds the air made a low humming sound, the sound of a machine that was half alive, half dying. Eli Ward stood over the control table, sweat on his forehead, his fingers flying across the glowing keys. He was rewriting alien code, symbols that changed shape when he looked at them too long. The system wasn't built for human minds. It pulsed, breathed, and whispered in tones like a heartbeat. He had spent the last 2 nights trying to change it, trying to make it accept Princess Lyra's true body instead of the fake one her people called pure. But the deeper he went into the system, the stranger it became. It was as if the machine didn't want to obey. Sometimes, it even whispered to him in a voice that wasn't Lyra's. "Leave, human. She is not yours to save." He would blink, shake his head, and keep working. Inside the mist-filled chamber, Lyra slept fitfully. The outer layer of her skin was almost gone now, falling away like glowing petals. Every few hours, she woke up screaming softly as her body adjusted to the cold air. Eli couldn't stand the sound. He would stop working and press his hand against the glass. "You're not alone," he would say. "Just hang on a little longer." One time when she woke again, her voice was barely a whisper. "Do humans always fight for strangers?" Eli smiled tiredly. "Only when they matter." Her eyes flickered purple in the color of surprise and confusion. "I was taught humans cared only for gain." "Then they taught you wrong," he said. She tried to laugh, but it came out weak. "Maybe they did." Later that night, a deep vibration shook the dome. Eli jumped. The walls flashed red. A message appeared on the main screen. "Unauthorized system interference detected." His blood ran cold. The Virene Council was watching. He quickly shut down his console and turned off the lights, pretending to sleep. Outside the dome, dark flying drones hovered like silent ghosts. Their bright eyes scanned the building for signs of illegal codework. When they left, Eli let out a long breath. He walked back to the window and saw Lyra watching him. "They know," she said softly. "I know," Eli replied. "But I'm not stopping." Her eyes glowed brighter. "If they catch you, they'll take you to the mines of Corin. No one ever comes back from there." Eli gave a half smile. "I've been through worse. Once I worked a 6-month repair job in orbit without gravity. No bathroom breaks." That made her laugh. A real laugh this time, small but beautiful. "You risk your life and still joke," she said. "It helps me think," he answered, turning back to his tools. Hours passed. The dome was dark except for the soft light from the console. Lyra's chamber filled with a silver glow as the last of her false skin dissolved. Eli didn't look away, just as he promised. Her true form was fragile, almost translucent. Veins of light pulsed under her pale surface like rivers of energy. Her eyes, without the outer glow, were gentle and deep, like oceans. "Beautiful," he whispered before he could stop himself. Lyra turned away shyly. "You shouldn't say that. In my world, this form is ugly. It is what we hide." Eli's voice was firm. "Then your world's blind." For a moment, silence filled the dome again. Then her breathing turned shallow. The life support machine beeped faster. "Your system's rejecting the change," Eli said. "I have to reset it manually." He opened the control panel and reached inside. The circuits inside were not made of metal. They were soft, almost like veins. He felt them pulse against his fingers. One wrong move and it could shut down for good. Lyra watched him, fear in her eyes. "If it fails, I'll die." Eli didn't stop. "Then I won't let it fail." He twisted the final valve and the whole dome shuddered. For a moment, everything went black. Then, silence. Eli held his breath. "Lyra!" From inside the mist, her voice came weak but alive. "I can breathe," he laughed, half in relief, half in disbelief. It worked, but before he could celebrate, a loud metallic thud echoed from above. The scanners were back. This time they were landing. "Council enforcers," Lyra whispered in panic. "They've come to destroy the dome." Eli grabbed his tool belt and ran to the central door. "No, not yet. I just fixed it." "You can't fight them," she pleaded. "They will see me like this. They will call me impure." Eli turned, his eyes burning with determination. "Then they'll have to go through me first." Her voice shook. "Why, human? Why do you care so much?" He looked at her through the glass, his hand pressed against it. "Because no one deserves to die just for being real," he said quietly. Outside, The heavy doors began to shake under the fists of alien guards. Inside, the princess's true form glowed brighter with every beat of her heart. Between them, the air vibrated with danger, and something else neither of them could name yet. Compassion. Forbidden, but unstoppable. The sound outside the dome grew louder. Metallic steps. Voices speaking in the alien tongue. They were here. The Virine enforcers, cold and merciless. Eli Ward stood between the control panel and the chamber door, his pulse racing. The soft glow of the dome lights flickered on his face. Inside the mist-filled room behind the glass, Princess Lyra sat trembling. Her outer skin was gone now, every trace of it dissolved into thin silver dust. She looked like light-given form, fragile, glowing, almost transparent. The veins under her skin pulsed faintly like rivers of stars. Her breathing was uneven. Her body struggled to live without its protective shell. "They are coming," she whispered. "If they see me like this, they'll destroy us both." Eli's hands moved quickly over the console. "Then we don't let them see you." He pressed a few switches. The dome's mist grew thicker, wrapping Lyra's body in fog. Outside, heavy thuds echoed again, the sound of armored fists striking the metal doors. "Open immediately," a voice boomed through the intercom. By order of the Virine Council, all unauthorized humans must surrender for questioning. Eli froze. He knew that questioning meant death. He turned toward Lyra's chamber. "I can hide you in the mist filter," he said quickly. "If I reroute the air system, I can make your body vanish from their scanners." Lyra looked at him with wide, glowing eyes. "You would defy the council?" He met her gaze without fear. "I already did." The dome lights dimmed again as the main door opened with a hiss. 3 tall figures stepped inside, armored from head to toe in silver suits. Their helmets shone under the violet light. One of them pointed at Eli. "Human, step away from the console." Eli raised his hand slowly. "She's dying," he said. "Let me finish the repair." "You are not authorized to alter the biosystem," the guard said sharply. "Step away now or you'll be neutralized." Eli hesitated. He could feel the hum of the machine behind him. It was alive, responding to Lyra's new form. If he stopped now, it would shut down again. She would die within minutes, and he couldn't let that happen. He pressed one last button. The dome lights burst into blinding white for a second, and then everything turned foggy. The guard shouted, confused. "What did you do, human?" Eli shouted back, "Saving a life." Through the mist, Lyra's soft voice echoed. "Eli, what's happening?" He turned toward the chamber. "I just rewired the oxygen flow. You'll be safe for a few minutes." But as the guards advanced, one of them fired a beam of energy at him, the blast missed, striking the control panel. Sparks exploded. The machine screamed like a living thing. The dome shook violently. The fog turned golden. Lyra's chamber door slid open by itself, the system malfunctioning. Eli stumbled forward, shielding his face from the sparks. When the light cleared, he saw her, standing in the doorway. She was breathtaking. Without her outer shell, her body glowed like moonlight through crystal. Her skin shimmered in soft white and blue, her eyes pure and bright. But she looked afraid, not of him, but of herself. The guards fell silent. For the first time in their lives, they saw what no alien had ever shown before, a Virine in her true, sacred form. "Impurity," one of them hissed. "Abomination." Lyra stepped back, shaking. "Don't look at me," she pleaded. Eli stepped in front of her. "Enough," he shouted. "She's not impure, she's alive." The guards raised their weapons. The hum of their suits filled the dome. "Step aside, human," the leader said. "The punishment for revealing the forbidden is death." Eli's voice shook, but he didn't move. "You can't punish life for being born wrong." Lyra's eyes glowed brighter, filled with tears. "Eli," he didn't look back. "Stay behind me." The guards hesitated, unsure. The air pressure in the dome started to change. The fog swirled faster, glowing like energy. Lyra's presence seemed to make the machine react to emotion again. The leader shouted, "Contain the corruption." Before they could act, the system released a sudden pulse of light, a wave that threw everyone to the floor. The guards' helmets cracked. Their weapons went silent. Eli opened his eyes slowly. The air was still now, glowing softly. Lyra was on her knees, crying silently. He crawled toward her. "Hey, you're okay," he whispered. You shouldn't have stayed, she said weakly. Now they'll kill you too, he smiled faintly. I told you before, I don't care about laws. She reached out with a trembling hand, touching his face gently. Her skin was warm, like soft light. You stayed, she said softly. He nodded. I promised. Outside the dome, sirens echoed again. More ships were landing. The entire council would soon arrive. Eli looked at Lyra and whispered, Then we finish this together. And somewhere deep inside the machine, the system began to hum again, this time not in warning, but in rhythm with her heartbeat. The undressing was complete. Not just of skin, but of truth, and truth once revealed could never be hidden again. The night sky above Vereen burned with red streaks of light. Dozens of patrol ships circled the forest where the dome stood, bright silver machines humming with the power of the galactic law enforcers. Their searchlights cut through the violet mist like blades. Inside the dome, Eli Ward worked frantically at the control board, his face lit by the dim blue glow of alien symbols. Beside him, Princess Lyra sat weakly against the glass wall. Her breathing was shallow but steady. Her true form shimmered softly, pale, translucent, and beautiful, like a living crystal. The silence between them was heavy. Outside, the sound of marching echoed closer. They're coming for us, Lyra whispered, her voice trembling. They will not stop until you are gone, human. Eli didn't look up. Then we better make it worth their trouble. He tightened a bolt on the glowing core panel. The machine made a low hum. It was alive again, but it was different now. He had reprogrammed it to support Lyra's real body, not the fake one her people worshipped. But that act, that small human act of mercy, had broken one of the oldest galactic laws. Moments later, the door burst open. A blinding white light filled the room. 3 tall figures entered, council enforcers wearing armor so polished it reflected everything like mirrors. Their helmets glowed with blue symbols of authority. The leader's voice was cold and metallic. Human engineer Eli Ward, you are charged with biological interference and spiritual violation of the Vereen sacred form. Step away from the life system. Eli stood still, his hands shaking but his eyes calm. I fixed your princess, he said. You should be thanking me. The enforcer stepped closer, weapon raised. You did not fix her. You corrupted her essence. You have broken the balance law. The punishment is death. For both of you. Lyra struggled to stand. No, she shouted weakly. He saved me. Without him, I would be dead. The leader turned his head slightly. You speak impurity? You have no right to defend a criminal. Eli moved in front of her. She's not an impurity, he snapped. She's proof that your system is wrong. You call life a crime? That's not law. That's fear. The enforcer pointed the weapon at him. Fear keeps peace. Eli's eyes hardened. No. Fear kills it. A sharp silence followed. Then, without warning, the enforcer fired. A blue beam hit the wall beside Eli, burning through metal. He ducked, shielding Lyra with his body. The heat scorched his arm, but he didn't move away. Eli, she cried. He gritted his teeth, ignoring the pain. I'm fine. The dome lights flickered, reacting to the chaos. The life system behind them began to glow brighter, pulsing with energy. Lyra's body shimmered. The machine was responding to her heartbeat again. Eli turned to her, a sudden idea forming in his mind. The system's alive, right? It reads energy from emotions? She nodded weakly. Yes. Why? He smiled faintly, sweat dripping from his forehead. Then let's give it something powerful to read. He grabbed a cable from the wall and connected it to his wristband, the human oxygen regulator that kept him breathing on alien worlds. The machine beeped in confusion. Lyra's eyes widened. What are you doing? Sharing my air, Eli said simply. My regulator has a built-in biosync system. If I link it to your chamber, you'll have a new energy source and the one the council can't shut down. But you'll suffocate, she whispered. He smiled weakly. I'll take my chances. The enforcers watched in shock as the human connected himself to the alien system. The lights exploded into brilliant white. The dome's heartbeat grew louder, stronger. Lyra gasped as her breathing deepened, her body glowing brighter than ever before. Her skin shimmered like starlight, alive with color. The leader shouted, "Disconnect him! He's merging with the sacred field." But it was too late. Eli stood tall, his face pale but steady. The air around him vibrated with energy. "Why?" the enforcer demanded. "Why risk your life for something not of your kind?" Eli looked straight at him. "Because life is life. Doesn't matter what color it bleeds." Those words hung in the air, heavy and clear. Lyra stepped forward, supported by the system's light. "He stayed when your laws told him to run. He breathed life into what you called impure. Tell me, Councilman, who is truly corrupted?" The enforcers hesitated. Their scanners went wild, unable to understand what they were seeing. The dome itself seemed to awaken, its walls glowing with pure white light. A pulse of warmth spread through the air, knocking the weapons from their hands. The leader staggered back. "Impossible." Lyra's voice echoed through the chamber, calm but strong. "You call this impurity. I call it truth. And truth cannot be destroyed." Eli fell to his knees, breathing hard. Lyra rushed to his side, her hands glowing as she touched his chest. "Don't die," she whispered. "Please." He smiled faintly, his eyes half open. "Guess I broke more than just your laws, huh?" Tears shimmered in her eyes. "You broke my fear." Outside, the sky thundered with council ships, but none dared to enter the glowing dome again. Inside, a human and an alien sat together, united not by duty, but by compassion that had defied an empire. The law had awakened, and it was trembling. Silence spread through the dome like the calm after a storm. The air was thick with silver mist and the faint hum of the living machine. The blinding white light had faded now, leaving only the soft glow of the core, breathing in rhythm with Princess Lyra's heartbeat. Eli Ward lay near the console, his chest rising and falling weakly. His oxygen regulator blinked red, the last of his air slowly fading away. His face was pale, his lips dry, but his eyes were still open. Lyra knelt beside him, her hands trembling as she touched his cheek. Her true form glowed brighter now, shimmering with life and warmth. The machine had stabilized her completely, but only because of him. "Eli, you shared your breath with me," she whispered, her voice breaking. "You gave me your life." He smiled faintly. "You needed it more than I did." Her tears fell silently onto his hand, shining like crystal drops. "Why would you do this for me, human? You could have lived. You could have gone home." He looked up at her with tired eyes. "Because if we start deciding who deserves to live, we stop being alive ourselves." Lyra's heart ached at his words. His voice was weak, but every word carried a weight that felt older than time. "Will you stay if I undress, human?" That memory echoed inside her. He had stayed. He had seen her truth and still chosen compassion. Outside, the enforcers watched from a distance, their scanners unable to read the new energy coming from the dome. It was unlike anything in the galaxy, part human, part Vereen. The laws of their world were bending, and none dared to step closer. Inside, the machine pulsed again. The air shimmered with heat. The energy flowing between Eli's regulator and Lyra's core had created something new, a synthetic lung, glowing gold within the chamber. It beat like a heart. Eli blinked weakly at it. "That's new." Lyra followed his gaze and gasped. "What is it?" He coughed softly, forcing a smile. "It's what happens when a human engineer breaks every rule in the universe. It's a hybrid lung, built from your energy and my air." She looked at him in disbelief. "You made this with your life?" He chuckled, though it hurt to breathe. "Not exactly. The system built it itself. I just gave it a reason to try." Lyra turned toward the glowing core, realizing the truth. The machine had learned compassion. It had copied his sacrifice, his choice to share life. Tears blurred her vision. You changed it. You changed everything. The ground trembled slightly as a voice echoed through the dome's speakers, the deep, calm tone of the Virene Queen herself. Lyra, my child, what have you done? Lyra turned toward the sound. Mother, the council says you've broken the sacred laws. They say you revealed your true form to a human. Is it true? Lyra took a deep breath, standing beside Eli, her hand on his shoulder. Yes, but if breaking a law means saving a life, then I will break it again. There was a long pause. The Queen's voice softened, almost trembling. You speak like your father once did. He too believed that life was greater than law. Lyra's lips parted in shock. Father? He was executed for it, the Queen said quietly. I feared you would follow his path. But now I see, perhaps it is not a curse. Perhaps it is truth. Eli's head tilted slightly toward the speaker. Your Majesty, he said weakly. Your daughter's alive because she dared to be real. Don't punish her for that. The Queen hesitated. And you, human, why did you stay? Why give your life for her? Eli smiled faintly, his voice barely above a whisper. Because sometimes the right answer isn't survival. It's mercy. The dome fell silent. Lyra bent closer, pressing her forehead gently to his. You can't leave, she whispered. Not after all this. He smiled, eyes half closed. Maybe. I don't have to. Maybe the air I gave you will remember me. She shook her head, tears falling again. No. You'll live. She reached toward the hybrid lung and placed her glowing hand upon it. Her energy flowed into it, merging human air and alien essence. The core pulsed once, then again, and then a breath of clean oxygen filled the dome. Eli gasped, his lungs filling with air again. His chest rose sharply. He coughed, then laughed weakly. Lyra's eyes widened in relief. It worked. He took another deep breath and grinned. Guess I'm harder to kill than they thought. For the first time, Lyra laughed freely, the sound light and pure. The Queen's voice returned, softer now. The Council will not understand this, but I will not let them destroy what you've made. You've shown us something greater than law, something our kind has forgotten. Eli leaned back, exhausted but smiling. So what now? Lyra looked at him, her eyes glowing with new strength. Now, human, we live. Outside, the dawn light broke across the horizon. The alien forest shimmered with silver dew. Inside the dome, a human and an alien sat beside a living machine, breathing the same air for the first time in history. The laws of the galaxy had cracked. And through that crack, hope had begun to breathe. The twin suns of Virene rose slowly over the silver forest, spreading soft light across the sky. The mist glowed gold and blue, and the once broken dome stood like a small beacon at the edge of the world. Inside it, two lives had changed everything. One human, one alien. Eli Ward sat near the glowing core, breathing deeply. His face was pale, but his eyes were full of quiet strength. The hybrid lung, that strange fusion of human oxygen and alien energy, pulsed steadily behind him, filling the air with warmth and soft light. Across from him stood Princess Lyra, her true form now stable, radiant, and alive. No longer hidden under false skin, she stood proud, a being of light and grace. Her people had once called this form impure, forbidden. Now it was the face of survival. The world outside didn't know what to call her anymore, a heretic or a miracle. The silence between them was peaceful for the first time. Lyra looked at Eli with a soft smile. You gave me life, human, but you also gave me a question I can't stop asking. Eli tilted his head, curious. What question? She took a step closer, her glowing eyes reflecting the light of the core. Why would you risk everything for someone your world calls alien? Eli leaned back, smiling faintly, because it didn't feel like a risk. It felt like the only right thing to do. Lyra's expression softened. You speak like our old stories. Stories of beings who saw no difference between blood and light. He chuckled. Maybe I just never liked walls. Not the kind that keep people apart. She looked down, a sad smile on her face. You broke more than a wall, Eli. You broke an empire's silence. Outside, the sound of engines echoed through the forest. The Vereen Council ships descended again, dozens of them. But this time no weapons were drawn. The dome was surrounded, but not by enemies. The Queen of Vereen herself stepped out, her long silver robe flowing behind her. Her eyes glowed with a calm that carried centuries of rule, and now, doubt. The air around the dome shimmered as she entered, her guards staying behind. When she saw her daughter, she stopped. For a moment, even the Queen of 1,000 Worlds seemed speechless. "You're beautiful," she whispered. Lyra lowered her head. "This is what I truly am, Mother." "I'm sorry I hid it for so long." The Queen's eyes softened. "No, my child. I am sorry that I taught you to hide it." Eli stood silently nearby, unsure if he should speak. But the Queen turned to him. "Human engineer Eli Ward," she said, her tone gentle but commanding. "You broke the oldest law of our kind. Yet, in doing so, you have kept my daughter alive. You have forced us to question what purity truly means." Eli nodded respectfully. "Maybe purity isn't about perfection. Maybe it's about truth." The Queen looked down, thoughtful. "Truth," she repeated softly. "Yes, we have forgotten its weight." She turned toward her daughter. "Lyra, what do you wish me to do?" Lyra glanced at Eli, then back at her mother. "End the law that shames what we are. Let our people breathe without fear. Let no one die for hiding their truth." The Queen hesitated for a long time. Then she nodded slowly. "Then it shall be so." Outside, the council soldiers lowered their weapons. The news spread through their ranks like a wave. The Queen had revoked the ancient law of purity. Across the planet, millions of Vereens felt the change ripple through the network that connected their minds. The old code that punished imperfection was deleted forever. For the first time in centuries, the people of Vereen looked at themselves and didn't turn away. Lyra looked out through the glass and whispered, "They're free." Eli smiled. "So are you." She turned back to him, her eyes glowing with emotion. "And you, human, what will you do now?" He looked toward the sky where Earth's stars still twinkled far beyond the mist. "I'll go home," he said softly. "My people should know what we did here. They should know that laws aren't meant to cage life. They're meant to protect it." Her voice trembled. "And if they don't listen?" Eli smiled gently. "Then I'll tell them again." Lyra stepped closer, her light wrapping around him like a soft aura. "Will you ever return?" He looked at her, eyes full of warmth. "If you call me princess, I'll stay again." Her heart glowed brighter. "Then hear me now. Will you stay again, human?" He laughed softly. "You already know my answer." The Queen watched silently, her eyes glistening. She turned away, giving them the privacy of that moment, a moment that would echo across stars. As Eli stepped toward the door, he paused and looked back one last time. Lyra stood beneath the dome's light, her body shining like dawn. He smiled. "Keep breathing, Lyra," she smiled through her tears. "Because you taught me how." When he walked into the mist, the wind carried his voice away, and somewhere beyond Vereen's sky, the universe felt just a little wider. The story of the human who stayed had begun to spread. Not in books, not in data, but in the hearts of two civilizations. And for the first time in history, law bowed before love.